How's it going, everyone? I hope you're well and welcome to Dan Guitar, where you'll find fun, easy to follow lessons for the beginner guitarist. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about bar chords and how we can make these easier. By the end of this video, you'll hopefully have more of an idea of how you can play bar chords more efficiently and accurately. It's a common problem students have. It's quite overwhelming. Bar chords are often a bit of a struggle. So let's go in for a close-up, and I'm going to give you a few tips to build your confidence in applying bar chords the right way, and hopefully this will lead you in the right direction. So a good place to start in terms of learning bar chords accurately is to actually start with power chords. Now, if you don't know what power chords are, they're chords that occupy the lower three notes, so the low E, A and D string. Whilst we're not barring the entire string set here, we're still laying our finger in line with the fret wire, the metal bit here, and getting it used to the same sort of positioning that's required for bar chords. So we'll start with a G power chord, so that'll be fret 5 on the D string with our little finger there, and then we're going to go to fret 5 of the A string with our third finger, and then we're placing our first finger on the third fret of the E string. So as I'm playing this, you can see that the finger, my first finger, is lined up, so it's sort of on the edge, the left hand edge, and I'm just before the fret wire. These fingers are also over to the right. So these are similar principles that are required for playing bar chords effectively. So make sure you can play power chords very clearly first. So if we go through that chord, we've got the low E, A and D string, but we're laying our finger lightly across the other ones to mute those. So get used to power chords first in order to get used to the same principles and the same sort of positioning required for bar chords. Okay, so the next thing you want to be doing is mastering the shape, achieving a really clear tone in the shape within the actual bar chord itself. By that, I don't mean the bar, I mean the chord shape within the bar chord. So if this is the bar chord, we have an E-shaped bar chord here, because that's derived from the E shape. The actual shape within that is here, okay? The bar is only actually occupying strings 1, 2 and 6, because 3 of the strings are dealt with the actual shape. And this is where a lot of students go wrong, because they force loads of pressure down on the bar itself, when actually it's the chord shape dealing with 3 of the notes, so half of the actual string set. So before you go in to apply the bar, how you set your fingers up within the actual shape is going to determine how accurate the bar is. For example, we need our fingers over to the right hand sides of the fret. Let's do this together. So we're in a G, E-shaped bar chord. So we're going to place our middle finger down on the 4th fret of the G string, the little finger down on the 5th fret of the D string, and our third finger down on the 5th fret of the A string. Now, as I'm doing that, I want to make sure that the fingers are very close to the fret wires, the metal bits, so over to the right hand side of the frets. Now, also avoid any gaps between the fingers, because you'll end up with fret buzz, yeah? So always keep close to the right hand side. Once you have a clear sound here, you know you're in a good position. You want to be on the very tips of the fingers. Just like open string chords, the shape itself isn't accurate. You're not going to get a clear tone, okay? The other reason we want to keep to the right hand side is we're aiming for the left hand side of the first finger, of the barring finger, to be placed on the fretboard. If we place it flat, the bar, if it's flat, then we're going to end up bringing our fingers too far to the left. It's more difficult to reach over to the right, and you'll end up with fret buzz or string muting. Whereas if we're on the edge of the finger, it's the stronger part of the finger, and therefore we're going to be able to get a cleaner tone. So being over to the right hand side, if we look at my first finger here, it naturally brings my first finger round towards the left, the bony edge of the finger. Now bear in mind that you don't want to overdo it with the pressure either, because the first 2 strings and string 6 are the ones we're actually applying pressure down with for the barring finger, because the other three are dealt with here. So be careful with that. You want to apply pressure down on strings 1 and 2. They tend to be the hardest ones to get. I would suggest applying the finger just underneath the pre-knuckle here. That's where I find I get the most pressure. I'm on the left-hand edge of the finger, and then just bringing the top part down. So a good exercise to do is actually play strings 1, 2, and 6 to check they're clear as well. So again, we want to be to the right-hand side on the very tips with our chord shape. Make sure that's clear first, that all of the fingers are together. That naturally brings our first finger to the left-hand edge. And you want to be just sort of before this pre-knuckle here for the bottom 2 strings, and then onto string 6 as well. That should give you a clear sound. The other thing to bear in mind is the thumb on the back of the neck. Okay, so just want to talk about thumb placement in a bit more detail as well. So as we said, we want our chord shape within the bar to be over to the right-hand side. So a good place to gauge where the thumb should sit and where it will be most comfortable is to place the chord shape down over to the right-hand side, as we suggested a little while ago when we were speaking about that. And just see at that point, taking your thumb off, where your thumb will naturally sit in that position. So for me, once I've put the chord shape down, I'm just putting the chord shape down. I'm not applying pressure, but just gently laying that down over to the right-hand side, making sure we're on the tips and there's no gaps between the fingers. And then just lightly press the thumb down wherever it is as a result. And then that's where I naturally sit. So my thumbs, I'm sort of applying a thumbs up sign like this. And it's sort of facing diagonal at that point. So just see where your thumb naturally sits as a result of the chord shape being to the right-hand side and your fingers being together. And you should also find at that point, for me anyway, my finger is again lining up towards the edge, the left-hand edge. And you want to use the thumb as counter pressure between the fingers so that that can help you assist the bar as well.